Use the power of discovering new habits to create success in all areas of life. Body, fitness and nutrition, being, spirituality, passion and purpose, balance, marriage, kids and relationships, business, marketing, sales, leadership and systems. Transform your life by learning how habits work. And now your host, husband, father, entrepreneur, trainer, coach, and warrior, Jesse Ewell.
Welcome back to the Habit-Based Lifestyle Podcast. I am Triggered, Jesse Ewell, and this is my host, other host, Katie Ewell, my beautiful wife.
Drinking coffee, triggering him.
Yeah.
Woo!
I'm getting triggered by the gulp.
Let's do it again for everyone.
Yeah, let's not. You like to do that.
What?
The gulp.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. So how's it going?
It's going.
Yeah.
It's Friday.
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 Don't you remember the movie Friday? What did they always say? It's Friday. We're going to get you high today. Smokey.
That would be you.
Yeah.
I never paid attention to that part.
Well, if you've watched the movie, you've had to have paid attention to that part.
I wasn't a Friday high day.
All right. So we're back in the Habit-Based Lifestyle Podcast. And I'm going to start over. I'm your host, Jesse Ewell, and this is my beautiful wife, Katie, the CEO mom, Ewell. And we're going to be talking today about parenthood. I guess we could call it parenthood. And yeah, usually we talk about marriagehood. We have been. We're going to talk about parenthood.
Yeah, and or lack thereof, and wanting to maybe quit.
Quitting parenting. Anybody ever, have you ever felt like you've wanted to quit at parenting or parenthood?
Yeah, yesterday, for sure.
Yeah, so I received a phone call yesterday, and Katie's like, "I'm done. I am. I'm quitting. At least on 2 of our 3 kids.
Yes.
Not the 3rd one, but she was like, "When are you coming home?" And I was in the middle of doing something, and I'm like, "I'll be home in about an hour."
Oh yeah.
And she proceeded to just tell me what our kids were doing. So let's talk about this. Like, have you, I think this is something that comes up for parents, but because of guilt and shame, we don't often talk about this. But let's talk about, like, what got you to that place.
Well, let's talk about being in that place. I was sitting at the table, and I had, picking the kids up from school early, and we had gone to tour a new school. We're in the process of looking at a home in a new community, which would put us in a new school. So I wanted to take the kids to tour the school, see what it was like. So we did that. The principal was amazing. We walked around, a lot different than any schools that we're currently at right now or we've been to. And the kids were brats. I was embarrassed. It was a lot of talk about how overpriced their lunch is at school, but the kids are very concerned about what the school lunch is and the snacks that they could buy. So they were looking at all the snacks, and Jesse realized that a cheeseburger was $3, and currently at his school it's $8. So what a ripoff his current school is, and that led to all the Lambos that drive through the parking lot at the current school, and it just, oh my gosh. And I'm sitting here thinking, you brats, like, do you have any idea what we're investing in this school and this education for you? And can you say one thing nice about the school that you're at? And then they were fighting over, who knows, who had a Chromebook, who didn't, if they're going to have recess together. I mean, it went on and on and on. And I'm just thinking to myself, oh my gosh, maybe this public school would be good for these kids. They wanted to know what they could wear because obviously it's not uniforms. And then, so we finished the tour and we got in the car and they had their opinions about the school and the lack of the gym and whatnot. And then they wanted, of course, to go get a treat. So as they're punching each other and one of them is in the way of watching the movie, so the other one pulls one's hair, I'm like, I can't do this, you guys. What is going on? So, of course, I continue to take them to get a treat because I told them I would take them to get froyo after we get a treat. We get home. And then it just continues. Julia, they have chores. Julia takes out the garbage and forgets to put a bag in the garbage. So Bubba throws away his garbage in the bag, which triggers Julia. And Julia throws the garbage at Bubba. So then Bubba punches her in the back, which led me to literally seeing myself stand up, I didn't go through with this, and say, I quit. You guys figure this out. Like, I am done. I can't do this anymore. You're brats. You don't appreciate what you have. You don't realize like what it's like to have a sibling. And it's horrible. I'm done. I can't do this anymore. And then I've seen this before in myself, and I get in my car and I just take off. I just start driving, and I'm just done. I quit. And then I see myself literally 15 minutes into it, missing my kids and being like, I got to turn around. I got to go back. So that led me, yes, to calling Jess, being like, help, I need a break.
Okay, so let's stop right there for a second, and let's go back to, so if you don't know, we moved from Gig Harbor, Washington back in the end of July. Our kids went to private school there. And the private school was like, say the average car, you know, is a GMC or maybe a Chevy Tahoe. That's kind of the average car of what people have. Now the average car is like, you know, the school they go to now in Dana Point, Washington is like
California.
the average car, or yeah, Dana Point, California. The average car is, say, like maybe not a Ferrari or a Lamborghini, but like the average car is, you know, what would you say? Like a G-Wagon or Tesla or something like that. And, you know, not only that, but like, you know, these kids are coming to school with, you know, Gucci belts, Gucci shoes, all these things. It's a completely different place. And kids in Washington, you know, maybe they didn't care about that, but like there might be one kid that came to school with this. Now it's like every kid. And if you know, don't have a Lamborghini, you don't have a G-Wagon, then there may be something wrong with you. And so that's what their world has been changed into. That's what they've gotten used to over the last year. And I've even caught my son trying to take pictures of my belts to show them to his friends, almost like they're his.
Or ask for his Louis Vuitton wallet that you would like.
Wondering when he's going to get a Louis Vuitton wallet or, you know, something else. But their perception of reality has been changed, but at the same time also their entire world's been changed just in the last 10 months. And so that's what they know now. And so now they're getting put into another environment that's different. And so their perception of the $8 burger has now turned into the $3 burger. And their world is completely shifting. And I think sometimes as parents, we're expecting them to kind of go with the change. And, you know, it's like even, you know, I'm not going to get into this yet. We'll get into this later. But, you know, as you're going through this, I'm thinking, okay, well, like their entire world's getting ready to change again. And, you know, for the most part, they're in that place just kind of observing everything and saying it out loud.
Well, no, 100%. And obviously you go from the moment and dealing with it and everything else, I mean, to stepping outside. And later at night, I read something, and it is like, I walk through those same things. Like I mean, I have those thoughts. I think those things. I have a bad day. I fight. We get into an argument. I yell at them. So why is it, you know what I mean? It's like, why do I set these standards that my kids have to show up and have this great day or not have a bad day or not be brats or whatever when I am, you know, or I can too. And so, no, 100%. But back to, there are days as a CEO mom or a CEO dad that you do want to throw in the towel and just quit.
Yeah, usually it's maybe after a couple hours or an hour and a half for the dads, not, you know, 7 consecutive days.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, you know, in this place, like I know we, as parents, we get to this place, but we also can feel at times the guilt and shame for it. But one of the things that you did is you said, hey, listen, I need space, basically is what you're saying, is like, I need space from them so I can actually think clearly.
Right.
And, our daughter, Julia, happens to be very, she's kind of an instigator, and a lot of an instigator, although her brother is kind of the same way. But Julia is probably more of an instigator naturally. Like, she's going to start things. And, our son, Bubba, Jesse Jr., he's going to do it if she's doing it. But if she's not doing it, then usually he's pretty good by himself. But she's kind of the ringleader.
Definitely.
And she's often she's often the one who starts it and has to have kind of the last word.
Oh, she doesn't stop. Like, she starts, but she doesn't stop. And honestly, like, when you talk about, yes, I for sure needed space. And again, when you step outside of what you're doing, it's like I was trying to send out graduation cards, talk to a realtor. And so really what's happening is I am not present with what's going on there, and I'm trying to get my own stuff done. So it 10X's everything. But I do want to point out that it was a huge shift for me to even pick up the phone. Typically, it's like, I'll figure this out. I can do this, whatever. When you walk in the door, I'll be like, hey, this is how it's been. But it was a huge shift for me to pick up the phone and for you to hear me. And you said, okay, get them ready. When I get home, I'll take them for a ruck, which a lot of times that's what we do with the kids. It's like this energy we need to get out of them. So let's take them and play baseball. Let's go for a walk at night. And in this situation, let's take them up a mountain and let them sweat this out. And so as a CEO mom and getting to that place, it is important in a marriage to be able to, reach out to your spouse for that. I would call it tag team. I think of it like wrestling. When you're done, you need a hand to slap to say, okay, your turn. You're in the ring now. It's your turn to fight this battle. And we've come a long way in that for sure. I mean, there were times that I definitely wouldn't call you and you'd probably say, good, you're home, figure it out. Like that's your job.
Okay, let's tag in.
Okay.
So yeah, in this, like, one of the things that I've realized is, even just being back to working with moms and working on the other side is I've started to realize more of the challenges that moms face. And so sometimes it's easier just to put myself in the position and be like, man, how would I feel if I was, with kids all day or, constantly around them and they're arguing? Because I know for me, after about an hour of it, like, I'm ready to lose my mind. And, if I'm not careful, I will lose my mind. And, that's one of the things that we have to get to a place of is just being okay with, like, hey, can you tag me in? Because I'm about to lose my mind in this moment. And can you take over? Can you have the kids do something so we can, get out of this space and get back into the present moment? And one of the things that I did is I came home and I grabbed my daughter Julia and we went for a walk. And it was actually kind of funny because on the walk, I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to tell her everything that, she did wrong today. And instead, as we started to walk, I kind of was like, hey, how was your day? Like, what went on today? And I just started to listen to her. And I found that it went from worrying about what was around her and her environment to stressing out about that to all of a sudden now talking to me about real life and just her world.
Right. Well, yeah. And I think too, like as a mom, and one of the things that I'm trying to work on too is they see it so different, like something that they could be fighting and putting me in this place of I'm annoyed, I'm triggered, and I could let that take over my whole night. but it's funny how they go through it. And then in the next 5 minutes, like they could be hugging or on to the next thing or talking about what happened at school. And so I've, tried to implement that in my life as well. And so it's like, I'm going to let this affect me for the next 5 minutes and then I'm done. Because, otherwise it plays into the whole night and that energy that I put off or put out there affects everything.
Yeah. And so as we went on this walk, I actually got to get into her world. It was about an hour, and it was actually kind of cool because we started talking about, hey, if we move, can we get a dog? And if I wanted to get a dog, like how could I get a dog? And so she kind of created this whole thing of, hey, I want to like make some money this summer to maybe buy a dog. And I'm like, well, we might not get one this summer if we're not allowed to have one, but I think it's a good idea that you kind of think of ways to make money so you can, start saving up for a dog. And it was kind of cool because half of the walk was her strategizing the ways that she could make money this summer and begin saving up for a dog. And it was kind of cute because she's like, well, how much is a dog? And I said, well, depending on the dog, it could be a couple $1,000s. It could be $1,000. And she's like, well, if I work all summer and I do my chores, chances are I'm not going to be able to, make enough for the dog. But she's like, I think by next summer I will. But it was kind of like, what do you think I should do? Or what could I do to make more money? And I started asking her, well, what do you think you could do? Like maybe you could do your own like dog walking business. So you could kind of have a dog, but you wouldn't necessarily have to bring it home, and you could, see if you really want one or not.
Right. Well, and that's huge. And so definitely as we're looking at these houses, I'll be knocking on the neighbors' doors, making sure they have dogs, because what better way to have a dog for Julia but just to ask the neighbors if she could walk it. Maybe she could scoop the poop. Maybe she could even feed it. And then she'll learn how to take care of someone else's dog to decide if she wants a dog.
Yeah. And one of the things that I kind of came up with was, hey, a dog is a big responsibility. And, for her, she's very controlling. And so some of the things that I thought about is like, hey, maybe she could focus on controlling the dog and it would take less focus off of her brother and she could give him space. But I think in this idea of parenthood, we have to strategize and kind of have a go-to when we get triggered by our kids, when we do really want to break, is just having, a spouse that we can go to and say, hey, like I'm about to blow my lid. Like, can you take over and for the next hour or two so I can get some space? And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And that's one of the biggest points in this that we want to make is
no shame in that game. Like just, you have, and believe me, I was one to be like, whoa, like what is wrong with me? I am a mom. I am made for this. I should be able to handle my kids. But it's like, are you kidding? Like I'm human. And there are times that you're just done, and it's okay. It's okay to tag in. It's okay to say, hey, like, help me out here. I mean, whether it be at night with baths, with putting them to bed, you don't have to do it all. And you know what? I think the dads love to have the opportunity to step in and take over.
Yeah. And, when you put it in the sense of tag team, like WWE style, then I definitely want to get in on the action, because I picture myself like jumping in the ring.
It is.
And I picture, 2 or 3 kids against dad at one time. And it actually is like, okay, well, I think I can handle this challenge.
Yeah.
Versus, a lot of times, when we may come home, at times we feel like as dads, the kids are like pushed on you.
Right.
And you're like, hey, peace out. Good luck.
Well, and it's just like, yeah, okay, your turn. And it's like, what? But yeah, tag team parenting, like for sure. Like you have to. And it just, it shifts. It shifts everything.
And it feels more like we're on a team when you say tag team and like tag you're in and we slap the hand. And all of a sudden, like you jump in the ring from
What about those little shorts they wear?
Yeah, you jump in the ring from the top belt, the top turnbuckle, and you like knock all 3 down at once.
And then I get to hold the belt above my head.
And then you get up and you're like, see, I just did this, or we did this.
Together.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing you could take away from this is parenting is a team effort. And without having a team effort, like your wife is going to feel like she's in constant survival mode, constant chaos. And she's going to probably end up taking it out on you because you're not over in the corner waiting to get tagged in. You're actually back in the dressing room, still looking at yourself in the mirror, wondering, hey, when is my opportunity going to come? When if you just got out into the arena, you could join your wife into the same corner and be on her team and learn to operate as a team and begin to take down your kids, not in a literal way, but a figurative way, and learn how to just manage that whole situation.
Right.
What's your final words for this episode of Parenthood?
Final words.
Come on. Final words.
I don't know. Tag them, wives, CEO moms, tag them in.
Okay. So do you hear that? If you're a CEO mom, get on the same team as your husband, tag him in. You might have to talk to him about, hey, we're WWE wrestlers. Maybe you guys have your own name.
Oh, that'd be good.
And as a tag team, and you're like calling him and you're going to be like, hey, I'm tagging you in. It's your time. And you may have to jump off the top turnbuckle, the top belt, and take down all three or two.
Or one.
And you may have to pin him and hold him down. Or you may have to run him around outside and throw him outside the ring. And let's just say the ring may be the inside of your house. And so we had to actually go outside the ring last night and take a little hike. And after doing that, everything seemed much better.
For sure.
All right. So thank you guys for joining us today. If you are looking further to connect with a group of like-minded people, join myself and so many others in the Habit-Based Lifestyle Secrets group on Facebook, where I'll be dropping daily habits to help you live to your full potential. If you want to be one of our next case studies and begin living this habit-based lifestyle, maybe you have some questions, comments, or requests, feel free to contact me, Jesse at habitbasedlifestyle.com. You can also check out my website, JESSEEWELL.com. Until next episode, have an awesome day.